Hello there, thanks for joining us. In this video, we're going to be talking about maintained status, previously known as implied status, and what it means for persons who are in Canada on a work or study permit that is about to expire and who are thinking of applying to extend their status in Canada. What happens during the gap? What happens during the time after you've applied, but before a decision has been made? We'll talk about that after the break. As always, remember to like our videos so others may see more videos like this. Subscribe to our channel so that you will be notified when we publish new videos. And check us out on our website at go.gooselaw.com. Thanks, we'll be right back. Welcome back. My name is Donovan Francis, and I'm a Canadian immigration lawyer, and I help skilled workers who are inside Canada and those who are outside Canada to become Canadian permanent residents without having to deal with all of the complicated immigration rules that are part of that process. Now, if you are currently inside Canada and you are on a study permit or on a work permit that is about to expire, and you are thinking of applying to extend your status in Canada, then what happens when your application has been filed for an extension of your status and the time that a decision is made? Now, typically, it can take a significant amount of time, several months, oftentimes, for a decision to be made on an application to extend your status. And so if your current work permit that you hold has expired and you had applied for a renewal of that work or study permit before the expiration of your current one, then what happens is that you will fall into what's called maintained status. Now, previously, this was known as implied status, but the government of Canada has recently changed the name, and so going forward, that now gets referred to as maintained status, but they're one and the same. But what exactly is this? What it means is that you would have maintained whatever the status is that you had prior to the expiration of your current status document. Then that status will be maintained during that period of time within which you're waiting for a decision to be made. Okay, so you will be able to continue working, for instance, on the same conditions, whatever the conditions are that would have been attached to your initial work permit. You would be able to continue working while in maintained status and be required to conform to the same conditions that existed previously, and that applies to persons on study permits as well as persons who've applied to extend their status in Canada as a visitor. So long as you're here as a temporary resident and you applied to have your current status extended just before the expiration date of your document, written onto the document, then you would have fallen into implied status and you'd be able to continue studying or continue working or continue being a visitor until a decision is made. Now, while you are on maintained status, you may be able to travel outside of Canada. However, it will be up to the discretion of the Canadian immigration officer who will be reviewing your file at the time you're trying to return to Canada, whether or not to grant you entry into Canada while you're on maintained status. The officer, for instance, will want to be sure that you're able to financially maintain yourself while you're here, because remember, once you're on maintained status and you leave Canada, while the officer may be able to admit you back into Canada, you will not be able to resume working or resume studying since you would have lost your maintained status, and that's another important point. So while you're able to travel outside of Canada, while you're on maintained status, if you were to do so, then upon returning to Canada, you will not be able to resume working or resume studying until the immigration authorities have made a decision on your initial application to extend your status. And so what it means is that what we advise clients is, as best as possible, just try not to travel at all, because if you do, you lose your maintained status. You're not able to resume working, you're not able to resume studying until a decision is made on your application. Whereas if you had not left Canada at all, you would have been able to continue working on the same conditions until a decision was made. So that's very important. And you remain in maintained status up until the date a decision is made. If your application is refused, then your maintained status ends on the day your application is refused. It does not mean that you'd have been working unauthorized from the date your previous application expired. No, you would have been carrying out authorized work while in maintained status right up until the date that your application was refused. Okay? If your application was rejected for being incomplete, then what it means is that you would not have enjoyed maintained status at all, and technically your application would have expired, your status rather in Canada would have expired on the date that would have been written onto the face of your previous work permit. So you want, if you're applying to extend your status in Canada, whether as a worker or as a student or as a visitor, you want to ensure that the application to extend is done properly and is not rejected for being incomplete. Because if it is, then what it means is that while you'd have been here waiting on a decision, thinking that you were in maintained status, in reality, you would have been here unauthorized. And if that happens, then we would have to talk about a separate measure that would need to be taken to restore your status back to what it was previously. And we've addressed that in a separate video that talks about restoration of status. So those are just some of the important pointers to bear in mind. If you're currently in Canada on a work permit or on a study permit or as a visitor and your status is about to expire, you will need to apply to extend your status. And during that period of time within which you're waiting for a decision to be made on the extension, you will have fallen into maintained status, which means you will have legal authorization to remain in Canada and to continue doing whatever activity it was that you were lawfully doing inside Canada. All right, and in addition, do bear in mind that the name has changed from implied status, which is what it was previously, to maintained status, which makes it a little easier for persons to understand the concept. So I hope you found value from this video. As always, remember to like our videos so others may see more videos like this. Subscribe to our channel so that you will be notified when we publish new videos. And check us out on our website at go.gooselaw.com. Thank you. See you again.